What up, folks? It's Dr. Ramilo Bone. I'm coming at you once again from the X-Layer to provide you my reaction to the latest episode of Twin Peaks. This is episode 11 of 18. So, we've got 7 left, which is bittersweet because it's going to be really exciting kind of watching the story play out, but on the other hand, it will end, and there is no clear sign that they will go on. I'm assuming it won't. I'm assuming this is like David Lynch's basically the end to his Twin Peaks saga, and he'll likely move on after this. He hasn't made films in a while, so 10 months making an 18-hour movie, like, that's a lot of work. And the guy's not exactly a spring chicken anymore. The guy's a little bit old. So, this could be it. But we are so lucky to be able to experience this. Him actually producing this and us being able to watch it. Like, once again, like, I had the option today to either watch Twin Peaks or Game of Thrones, and I chose to watch Twin Peaks first because this is the best thing that's on television right now. It may be the best thing that's ever been on television. I mean, you get a master of film, and what in general cinema theory discussion is referred to as an auteur, like an actual artist of the filmic medium, putting his talents into a television show for every episode for 18 episodes. This is even bigger than what he did with the original series. The original series, he did direct a few episodes, but other folks would come in and direct episodes, and eventually, really, it wasn't his show anymore as far as like the visual storytelling that was being told. Like, of course, the stories themselves were him and Mark Frost, but like what we saw, the episodes, they were not like David Lynch products 100%. There were other visions in there, and some of them were a little bit like kind of watered down, typical television type of producing. But here we're getting every episode directed by David Lynch. It's masterful. This episode was no less masterful than any of the others. This episode was actually a delight for me for several reasons. I was laughing for a very long time after one of the scenes, which I'll talk about, which I haven't done in a while. I haven't actually just laughed that much. Yeah, like the show, it really, like, for me, I'm captivated by every frame. Every scene is just an event for me, and so it's just, even like going into it today, I wasn't in that mindset. I wasn't in that Twin Peaks mindset, but it brought me in. It brought me into the Twin Peaks mindset because that's what David Lynch does with his filmmaking. He just captivates you. He takes you in, and like he takes you in unexpected directions consistently, and it's surprising, and it's really a fun experience as a result of it. Anyway, so let's just go through the episode. The beginning, the stuff. Oh, we did find out that this that Shelley's daughter is also the daughter of Bobby, Laura Palmer's ex-boyfriend. So that is a revelation. The whole first part was centered on the problems that her daughter is having with Banshee from X-Men First Class, and the stuff with the daughter herself was all right. It was surprising. I mean, the fact that like Shelley, like, was on the hood of the car for a while. It was like that whole kind of like action sequence with Shelley, which is very unexpected. But like the daughter going to try to kill the boyfriend or whatever, like that was all very unsurprising. And the reason for it was because of the sequence that occurred in the restaurant afterwards. Like, you have that unsurprising sequence, right? So it's like, it's very kind of by the numbers. Okay, she's gonna go take revenge on her boyfriend. She gets to the place. She like shoots it up, whatever. The boyfriend and the girlfriend are hiding, whatever. But then we cut to the restaurant where we are revealed that Bobby and Shelley are the parents of the daughter. And so they're having their conversation, and it's all about the events that just went on, and it's all about like the central plot that's being focused on in this first sequence. And then all of a sudden you get shots coming in through the the restaurant, right? So you're like, okay, this is related to this. This is like revenge of like maybe the girlfriend, or maybe the girlfriend has another boyfriend or something. Like this is related to what just happened, because like there was somebody shooting up an apartment a second ago, which is like a crazy event. And now you're having somebody shoot up the restaurant, which is a crazy event also. These must be related. Bobby goes outside, realizes that, no, it's actually completely unrelated. There's some kid in the back of a van who got a hold of his dad's gun, and he started shooting it, and the bullets came through the restaurant. It had nothing to do with the story that we were tracking. It's such a very clear commentary on the banality of like intentionality in these shows, in like a classic just a drama type of soap opera where you know, like the things that happened would have led to a related shooting in the restaurant, and it all would have tied together, but ultimately being not very surprising. And so kind of just like not really important. By David Lynch taking us to this other event where you have an expectation for what's happening, and then it turns out to be completely something unrelated and very sort of just banal, very sort of commonplace, very just like a kid grabbing his parents' gun and shooting it through the window of a car. Like that was very much like David Lynch saying like this silly drama that you usually get is as commonplace as something as random as this, and it's and the way that he said it was interesting, and it was really delightful. Anyway, the scene did not stop there, right? Like you had the cars honking nonstop behind, right, which is like ridiculous. You had the little kid give Bobby just like this angry look that was just completely arbitrary. There was no reason for it, but there it was. Then this other deputy comes in, and then Bobby goes to talk to the lady that's honking, right? She's been honking the entire sequence, like it's really annoying and consistent. And so, yeah, let's deal with this. Bobby goes to deal with it, and then all of a sudden something completely fucking different happens, right? You've got this woman who's like fucking having a meltdown, wanting to get home, thinking, and it's implied that she's alone, but then it's revealed that she's not alone. That there's like this zombie kid. It's not a zombie kid. She's saying, he's sick, he's got to get home. Like, okay, so there's a sick kid in the car, and we're seeing the sick kid in the car, and he looks like a fucking zombie, like coming back to life after dying, after a zombie like killed him, and now he's a zombie, and he's like spitting up some green stuff, and the lady's screaming, and the look on Bobby's face, and like how the camera just kind of held his face, and then cut to the sheriff's station, and we never see the events, any other events related to these moments again throughout the episode. Like that was so fucking masterful. That's what made me laugh. I was laughing probably for, I don't know, like a good 2 or 3 minutes after that. I just couldn't stop thinking about how freaking ridiculous it was, and how hilarious it was, and how grateful I was to David Lynch for allowing me to experience that as a result of his masterful manipulation of the filmic art in the form of another Twin Peaks episode. Anyway, so the stuff in the sheriff's station. So we're getting some more information on like them going to those coordinates that were left on that silver vial that was found in that chair that Major Briggs left for them. And it's implied that like they have some weird map that looks to be like of Native American origin that Hawk can read, which is cool. I really like that whole sequence of him describing what the symbols meant and how there's like a lot layers of meaning to it. And then in the middle of that, you get that deputy coming in and saying that that his car. Oh, he wanted to show the sheriff his new car. Like, the most unimportant thing that could happen. And it does happen in the middle of like this sequence where you're like, as a viewer, captivated. Okay, what's going on? This is part of the main story. Like, it's just such a beautiful touch. Again, that's the David Lynch touch. It's like, I'm not gonna give you your conventional like narrative where like everything fits in this like big puzzle and it's all related. It's like, no, I'm gonna give you moments that are just really just everyday life to kind of, again, give you more sense of realism to what we're seeing. Anyway, beautiful. Then we get the log lady calling in and just like that whole exchange between the log lady and Hawk, and then of course the sheriff. Just very good, entertaining. It didn't really take us anywhere, but it was definitely enjoyable. Like, it didn't advance the story in any significant way. Anyway, then we get that fucking crazy sequence with David. So I don't know the characters' names. So David, well, I know some of them. So Diane, I don't know the agent's name. So David Lynch and I think Gabriel Ferrar, I think his name is Miguel Ferrar. And of course the other folks, and Stu from Scream, one of the killers from Scream, I forget, Matthew something. Anyway, so they go to that house, right, where apparently Major Briggs' head disappeared or whatever, and they find the body of that lady or whatever. We see a shadow. Okay, so we see that David Lynch and Miguel Ferrar see a shadow man, one of those dirty, bearded men, as David Lynch called them, behind like a trailer, and then he disappears. Miguel Ferrar says to David Lynch, "Do you think we'll find one?" And then David Lynch is like, "We'll find out." So it's very clear that David Lynch and Miguel Ferrar, in these 25 years that transpired between the end of season 2 and now, have been sort of expanding their knowledge of like the forces that affected Twin Peaks during that time, were related to Laura Palmer's death and related to Cooper and the things that happened to him. So they know information. They know some information. When they said, "Do you think we'll find one?" Or when he said, "Do you think we'll find one?" he must have been referring to like one of these like interdimensional doorways that then David Lynch saw as like this vortex in the sky, which by the way was fucking beautiful. That was a beautiful fucking vortex in the sky. And I love like the optical manipulations that kind of put us into David Lynch's psychological perspective on the vortex as everybody else just kind of was experiencing normality. I love that. That was really cool. It's just a simple thing, but we just don't see that kind of manipulation often these days in any type of filmmaking, be it filmmaking for television or for the cinema. Everybody's very dependent on digital stuff, and it's like, well, don't forget we have this legacy of techniques that were developed over time that are also valid and can be very effective in relaying a sense of, an alternate realism, or whatever alternate version of the world we live in. Anyway, so cool stuff there. I love that vortex thing. And I love how it took us into like a room where there's a staircase, and then you see those shadow men, the dirty bearded men in the room that David Lynch described. And then of course Diane seeing probably the same bearded man, or maybe the bearded man that Diane saw, because she said that he got out of a cop car. Maybe he's the one that was with Matthew Lillard. I think that's his name, Matthew Lillard. Next to his cell. Remember, first episode probably, that Shadow Man was in one of the cells and he disappeared. Maybe he was just around him and he was tasked to kill him at some point. Anyway, the whole sequence of Diane seeing him and then him getting into the car and disappearing, that was fucking creepy as fuck. Broad daylight. but fucking creepy as fuck. And then all of a sudden, Matthew Lillard's head explodes or something. Part of it is gone. We don't see it happen, which is great. That's exactly what you do. You don't show stuff, like you make us imagine it, and our imaginations make worse imagery oftentimes than what's actually shown on the screen. So you imagine like the most horrible thing because everybody's reacting as though it's the most atrocious thing they've ever seen. Anyway, so that whole sequence was crazy. And then we went to the police station. And I don't remember if much happened in the police station. Anyway, loved that whole part. That whole part was awesome. And then of course we got the Dougie stuff, and the two brothers, like the two casino owner brothers, Jim Belushi and the other dude, obviously wanting to kill Cooper, or the pleasure robot Dougie version of Cooper, which kind of just plays out kind of in a weird, interesting way, like in the weird, interesting way that whole part of the story has been presented this whole time, because it's really has a really quirky tone because of, you know, Cooper, who's central to it, who in this manifestation is like this kind of pleasure robot. And I love the way that the whole sequence played out. I love that whole last part. I'm not going to get too far into it because it didn't really advance the story. It was just fun to watch. Just like kind of the revelation that well, the whole thing with the pie was interesting. I love that the pie was in like this like shipping container. Like how do you go to a maybe like a bakery, buy a pie, and then you get the pie in like this shipping box? It's a very odd choice, and I love it because it's like because if it was a pie box, we would have known it was a pie box the entire time. But the fact that it was like this shipping box, it made it like a mystery for, you know, that short amount of time. The whole sequence going out to like the desert, like it all felt very epic, and it led to nothing really. Just the realization that they shouldn't kill Dougie, and then them getting their money and being happy and ultimately falling in love with Dougie. And then we of course go to that restaurant, and we have that beautiful moment where Dougie is distracted by the music, and it appears as though something significant is going to happen. Like the music is going to, you know, set something off and like kind of remind him, oh, he's Cooper. No, that lady that won the jackpot, that seemed to be a vagabond, really down and out before winning the jackpot, like is there. She's got her son, like her life is back together because of Cooper. And then we don't end the episode at the Bullet Bar, I think it's called. We don't end the episode like at a performance there. We end the episode with the piano player just playing. I thought it's just so beautiful, man. It's such a every episode is just gorgeous. This beautiful piece of like filmic art. I love it. I love it. 7 more episodes to go, folks. Are we gonna get all the answers we want? Is there gonna be more after this? I don't know. I watched the Comic-Con panel. There wasn't much mention of that, I don't think. I didn't watch all of it. I need to watch the last 10 minutes or whatever. And apparently Cheryl and Finn is gonna be in it at some point. I think. It's been implied that that's the case, but we haven't seen her yet. Anyway, love the episode, love the show, captivated by it still, and can't wait for more. Anyway, thanks for checking out my channel. Thanks for checking out my video. If you haven't already done so, you can subscribe down here. And as always, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already, put an X in that box, folks, because ain't nobody checking me. Bye-bye.